Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. This morning, we're going to talk about this little gal. This is the Entina 2S 3D printer. And a lot of you are going to laugh and say it looks like a toy. This little printer is a workhorse. She is great for people like me who have never touched a 3D printer and know nothing about it. I had her up and running in the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I think the longest part for me was waiting for the app to run her, or waiting for the app that I wanted to use personally to run her to download. I think that was the longest part. She came all together. There was a bracket on the post, which I will show you after. I pulled it off. There was some tape on the wires to keep them secure. I pulled it off. I pulled this little piece out from inside. It was tucked down inside. I pulled it out. I pulled down my filament holder here. This roll of filament came with it. I put in the TF card, which is right here. It's like a really mini SD card. I've never seen one before. And it's tiny. I put it in there, and it came with some preset items. So we printed a little frog. Okay? And the reason I printed him is because he would be great in different sizes. He doesn't have to be this small. I could definitely size him up for dioramas, for science fair projects. He could be painted. You can paint this filament. This is just plain PLA. That's the word I'm looking for. Then I painted this guy. I had some colorful filament. It's also PLA, but it comes in a rainbow color. He was articulated, which means, of course, that he moves. And he was also free on the TF card. I printed the articulated dragon. I printed the articulated fish. And I did 3 or 4 Pokemon, which were quickly snagged by my granddaughter. And she's going to paint them and put them in her collection. And I did some hangers. If you own a KitchenAid stand mixer, you know that the paddles and everything are quite big and bulky in your drawer. So I printed some little hooks, and they were quickly snagged by my mother, who hung them up in her pantry, and she hung up her KitchenAid pieces. And they're out of the way, and she's more than happy. Printed them on here. So, the first question I always get asked is it a toy? And the answer is no. This is a working 3D printer. Is it a 3D printer that kids could use? For sure. Would I give it to one of my kids to use? For sure. My granddaughter, put in the colors that you want. I got a few colors. Put them in. Do what you want. If you just want to do it in white and paint it, go for it, right? I saw a gentleman on YouTube, and I lost a piece of paper that I wrote his name on to the great pop explosion upstairs. But he was building a diorama of, it was a movie, Avatar. Because he bought the figurines, because he's a fanatic, and he admitted that. He said, I'm a fanatic. He bought the figurines, but he printed all of the diorama pieces on the Entina, or Entina, I guess it said. So yeah, she's awesome. She's quiet. I'll give you a listen. You could have her in the room printing while you're watching a TV show or whatever. She's light. She's 6.5 pounds. Okay. I'm not going to get into technical specs because I haven't learned enough about it and I'm not comfortable enough to give you that. But I can tell you that she uses PLA, which is what we're printing with now, which is also what this was. You can get many colors. She uses PLA Plus, which, if I understand correctly, is a little bit stronger than PLA. She uses D or TPU. I don't know that one. I still have to do some research on that one. And she uses something called PET-G. They're all going to look like this, but they are all made differently, and PET-G is very strong. The thing that they all have in common is that they are not food safe. So you don't want to print off, let's say, a little tea set that a grandchild is immediately going to put in their mouth because it's not safe for that. Okay. However, I did see a woman who was printing off dollhouse furniture on her Entina. Okay. Possibilities are endless. She is limited, I'll admit. She does have limits, and her biggest limit is her size that she can print. Okay. But most designers I've found, even though it's free designs, they have given the design as a solid piece, like our frog, or you could, in the next file, like in the design, his legs would be printed separate and you would attach them. So you could do him bigger. Okay. So you can print in single or multiple pieces, is what I'm trying to say. Now let's see. The bed auto levels, so you don't have to worry about that. And it heats, but it's not so hot that you would burn yourself touching it, but I wouldn't recommend like making it a habit, right? What else can I tell you that are just basics? She is a bit slow. Okay. She isn't the fastest printer on the block. This one took me 20 minutes, this little frog, right? But I saw him printed by somebody on a Bamboo Lab A1 Mini, and he took less than 5 minutes. So she's a little slow. But for kids who are fascinated watching all the layers build up, right? You're going to have patience. But her screen shows all of your information. It tells you what the nozzle is heating up to. It tells you what the bed is heating up to. It tells you what filament it thinks you're using. And it tells you, I'm still figuring this out. Remember that, folks, that it's a 0.20 or 0.02, 0.202 millimeter, 0.20 millimeter layer height. Okay. I will figure that all out. The weekend was extremely nice, so things got rolling in the orchard. Our My daughter's mother-in-law came back to the house after a very extended stay elsewhere, and it's just been very, 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 very busy. I can't say varies enough. Trust me, it turned my mind into mashed potato. Let's put it that way. So while I was playing, I wasn't learning per se, but I was paying attention. And I'll tell you something. I set this little girl to print. I call it a girl. I don't know. Call everything a girl. But I sent her to print. And when she was done, or while she was printing, I went outside and played with the little, oh, you can't see him, the little black devil behind me in the yard. One of the jobs we did this weekend was put up between our house and our fence. We put up two fences um, across so that he had room to run and play off leash. So we went out and spent a lot of time running the yard, and it was awesome. And this was printing while I did it. The only thing I would say I would recommend, and that's because I'm a new user, so take it with the grain of paranoia that I'm saying it. I would recommend that you be there at the end so that you could take a pair of tweezers, which I myself added to my little kit, um, because your nozzle will have a little string of filament. So when you hit on the screen to clean the nozzle and retract the filament, it's going to leave little hanger-oners. And I just use my tweezer to pull that out so that my nozzle is clean. Okay? Those are the little things, like the maintenance things. She came, of course, with her book. And there's a QR code there for support and downloading the app. Polo Print app on my phone and WeBuilder on my Mac. It came with some glue. I tried the glue. I do not like it. I found it just made the release from the print bed easy, but it made a mess. Okay. It came with an extra nozzle. It came with the adapter for the TF card that's in there. Okay. Came with an adapter so you could put that into your computer and add more. This was over the bar that turns to move your print head back and forth. So I removed that because it doesn't need to be there when it's not being mailed or moved or packed up for some reason. Came with a nozzle head cleaner and things for tightening, Allen keys for tightening screws that come loose. Okay, so basically, I'd say 10 minutes, and the biggest part of that was getting the app because our internet was slow this weekend. So she was up, she was running, and I felt confident using her. I have tried her from both the Polo Print app and the WeBuilder app, so both my phone and my Mac, and she works like a charm. She just takes it, she goes with it. As long as you get the filament put in and you push it till you meet resistance, she's ready to go. So folks, this tiny print is going to take just over an hour. So I will come back to you when she is done, and I will let you see the results. And I will let you know if I think that she has a place in the market and if I would recommend her. I'll be back. We are now about halfway through, and I wanted to give you a quick look. It's still just going along, no problems, no issues. It's just doing its job. If you have any questions, I will say you can ask, because you know what? That's how I learn too. If I don't know the answer, I go about finding it and sharing it with you. But if you're really, really curious about this, there are a million and one videos, and there are so many places to get free designs that designers are more than willing to share, and they want feedback. And I have had a lot of fun in the community. But I'm going to let this finish printing and I'll come back. Hello. Okay, so we are at just over 90% complete on our print, but I wanted to show you something. So as I said, you can take these little characters, whatever you want to call them, and use acrylic paint on them. And so what I decided I would do, whoops, sorry guys. There we go. That's a bit better. Is I would try one of my acrylic markers, this specific color, on the frog. And I just put it on the bottom leg to see what would happen. And this is how it looks. Now, it's not exactly how it looked because I attempted to wipe it off. So it goes on quite nicely. I will show you here. You can, of course, use acrylic paint with a paintbrush, but I just wanted a quick demo here. So these are the easiest. So it goes on in the dark. And if you try to wipe it off, it becomes light. But I want to show you. You can see it through the lake. Let me see if I can angle that into... No. Okay. Let me bring you forward. Just one moment. I'm going to zoom you in, guys. Hope I don't make you seasick. Oh, there you go. See? You can see the green through. So they're definitely paintable. We've proved that. You can wipe it down if it's too dark, or you can leave it, but you're going to be, if you did this in this green and wanted white at the top in the thinner parts like this, you are going to be able to see your paint through. Now, I have not tried this. I will try this after a quick trip out to get some spray paint. I will try spray painting our little example here and see if we could spray paint a base coat and then put details with acrylic pen and see how that turns out. This, I wish you guys could feel it. It's a very smooth surface. He is nice and smooth. He is exactly the way that you would want him to turn out. And I am thinking that if I attempt to spray paint him, he may be almost too smooth and it may run. But I don't want to sand him. So we'll see. We'll figure it out, right? This one here, our bunny, he's printing away. I did want to say, remember, you can resize. So I could have done the frog and everything bigger, or in 2 stages rather than just one. So while he finishes up, is there a spot in the market for this little machine? Oh my goodness, yes. It is for anybody who is a beginner that doesn't want to break the bank, so to speak, in this day and age, by buying a big machine and going, oh, this isn't for me. I don't understand it. I don't enjoy it. Not what I thought. This little machine comes in around 200, 250 Canadian, okay. But you can get it on sale. So wait for a sale, okay? Honestly, I say that about everything. Wait for a sale. Wait for a coupon. Find a sponsored video that gives you a link for a 10% discount, whatever, okay? Is it going to overtake the market? Maybe for a children's printer or a beginner printer. It's a really good model to learn on. If you learn quickly and you really love it, are you going to outgrow it quickly? Yes and no. I think that if you bought yourself a big one, you could be printing the small pieces on this one, the big pieces on the other one, kind of a twofer, right? Um, but yeah, you could outgrow it. But let me tell you, it's a workhorse, and it's done. Now, when I say it's done, watch, because this is going to move. So when it plays its little song, you still have to wait a minute for it to stop. There, it's done, and we can remove it. Uh, do I have some cons to this machine? I do for sure. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I wish that the power button on this machine was on the machine instead of on the cord. This is very, very old ways of doing things. And I wish that the cord had a ground. This is only a two-plug cord, or a two-prong cord, sorry. I wish it had a ground. Those are my wishes. Um, do I wish for anything else? I mean, in this day and age, I wish that it was a bit quicker. But what I did is I started a diorama with my laser cutter, and I started this printing, and I had them both going at the same time. And I cleaned the craft room and did some stuff that needed doing, sent some emails and stuff. They both finished around the same time. So weigh your pros and cons, guys. Now, to get him off, or to get it off, is simple. There is a spot here in the front that is where you can hook your finger, and you really do have to pull. But you pull off your bed, which is magnetic, and you pop. Listen, just like that. I'm going to want to wipe. Whoops, where did Bunny go? I'm going to want to wipe down my bed. So I will be doing that. And there is our bunny. And I can hear you guys thinking, what in the world is this? This could stay attached. You could paint your bunny. You could paint the screen. You could be sitting in the grass. Or, as it's called, a raft. It detaches just like that. It is the spot that Bunny sticks to as the layers build up. That's what it is. I personally put it in my poop box over there because I will break it all down, I will melt it, and I will turn it into something else. Bunny turned out fabulous. I am very, very pleased with this print. Right? Like, look at that. He could be bigger. I could resize him quite simply, make him bigger. I chose not to. But that is the power of this machine. It looks like a toy. People call it a toy. Trust me, guys, it is anything but a toy. It is a working 3D printer. To clean this, I'm just going to use a baby wipe. That's it. I didn't put the glue on. I'm going to use a baby wipe. What do I do now, you ask? Well, I go back up to my screen here, and I know you can't see it on camera because of the reflection, but on here it has prepare, and I click that, and I go down one by turning the little knob here, and I click on change filament, and I click on load filament, which is right at the bottom of the list. And it says what kind of filament, because I'm going to preheat the nozzle and give it a quick purge to clean it out. So I will put this back on there. Okay, it doesn't have to be a line because we're not doing a print, we're just doing a bit of a purge. and I push down. And now it says we're unloading the filament. Wait for the nozzle to heat. And so that is all we do. We just wait for this nozzle. Let me grab my tweezers so I don't burn my fingers. Okay. We're waiting for this nozzle right here, the gold one. It's a lid right there, to heat up and purge a little bit out the end to clean itself out. And then we're just going to pull this back. And that's it. There is always a little bit that comes out at the end. And I do use the tweezers and just give it a little pull out. And my machine is ready to go for the next print. If you're changing colors, be aware. Do I have that piece I want to show you? That is it, this one? Where did you go, little piece? You may have, like if you're in the middle of, or you've just finished printing one and you switch to print our little colored friend here, be aware that sometimes there's a little bit left, but it ends up in your raft. It doesn't really matter, okay? So now what I'm going to do, I've given it a minute or so. I'm just going to back you guys up a bit. Oops, that's not back up. I'm going to back you up a bit so you can see there. It says it's done. So now I can either start the new print or I can take this, push up on the clip and pull. And this is getting all this filament out. You never, or at least I'm told, you never want to leave filament in there. You want to put it away into something that is kind of airtight because it will hold moisture and change the quality of your print. So now when I tip it, it had this little bit here hanging from the nozzle, and there's still just a little bit. I just pull that off and I am done. My machine is clean and ready to go. I can wipe my bed off and I am ready to rock for next time. Turn it off. It will cool itself down. It is really easy now that it's done printing. I'll show you. It is super, super easy to move around. Okay. So you could take it upstairs. You could take it downstairs. You could take it outside. Right? Yes, it has a place in a home for beginners. For people who only want to do small things, don't want to take up a big footprint. For children. For people, that really want one but can't afford to break the bank. She's a good little workhorse. I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again on Wednesday. I'm hoping to have the laser cut diorama ready to assemble, but I can't promise that because there's a lot to it. And if I don't, I'm not sure what we're going to do. Maybe finish our birdhouse. I've got to get that cut out, but I started cutting out the diorama. And well, you get many projects up here in little time. Take care, guys, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.